It's a Bitcoin podcast. The only one that's making your money is you. Listen to the Bitcoin podcast. So hold on and listen to the Bitcoin podcast.
What are you doing out in the snow? It's 32 degrees below 0 Celsius, and my dad is working hard, looking beyond the extents of hypothermia, hypochondria, and all the elements combined. He works to build a fence. A true servant, a true worker, a true exhibit of hard work and ethics. This is my father, in whom I am well pleased.
Absurd.
Oh wow.
How about that? Is that better? Yeah. There we go.
Your video's lagging. Your sound.
The sound is lagging.
Well, yeah, you know,
A
it's
little bit.
relative.
All right.
It's catching up. Just do a out now brown cow.
Out now, brown cow.
Yeah, it's got some lag going on there.
Christ.
Give me a I sell seashells by the seashore.
Hold on. Let's do this.
Whoa, that's not. I didn't do enough mushrooms for what's going on right there.
All right. How about we do that?
That's a little. We're getting there.
Whoa.
No, that stretches you.
All right. You know what? We're gonna have black bars today on the sides. Can I do that?
Are you sure? I mean, you can do whatever you want as long as the sound matches your lips.
How about now? Is the sound better?
Just like a
No.
little delay.
Really? I'm surprised. Okay.
It's getting there though. I feel like your computer's learning. It's like an AI thing.
Computer's learning.
Yeah.
That
Well.
doesn't make sense. All right.
We can jump right into it. How do before we start, how do you guys want to be introduced? Co-founders?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or
Co-founders of Atomize.
okay. This is not your first rodeo, Joe. You've been on the show plenty of times now, so
Yeah.
we're gonna be good to go. All right. In 10. Hey everybody. Welcome to another one of the Bitcoin Podcast's interviews. Unfortunately, I can't show my video because I no longer have a studio. I'm in the process of moving into a home because I like to hodl plus. And you know, that's what we do here at the Bitcoin Podcast. You know, do a little hodl, do a little plus. But today we're joined with Joe and Johad, co-founders of Atomize.xyz. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
So, Joe, this is not your first rodeo on the Bitcoin Podcast. You're actually a Bitcoin Podcast super listener.
Yep. I still have one episode to catch up with though.
Okay, shame on you. Johad, Johad, welcome to the Bitcoin Podcast, man. This is your first time coming by. How you feeling?
Thank you. No, super excited to chat about crypto and all the things.
Good deal, man. So obviously crypto is it's definitely in the zeitgeist now, right? Like everybody, I mean, Tom Brady's talking about this shit on the sidelines with his tight ends. He's like, hey, did you get any Doji coin? Because that's something that Tom Brady would say. Crypto is no longer just isolated to the I don't know, what do you call early adopters? We're using the adoption curve terminology.
Yeah.
Are we moving into mass adoption? Is it official?
I'm not sure. I think that's one of the things that we're trying to help people kind of onboard onto and make it easier for them to make it easier for people that are not as technically savvy or really crypto early adopters. We want to help that next group of people get on board.
How do you delineate now? Because I most recently saw a clip. It kind of made me throw up in my mouth a little. Paris Hilton was on Jimmy Fallon, and he was calling her a crypto expert, which made me want to, I don't know, throw my laptop across the room. And so, are you going to be able to provide like a delineation between a Paris Hilton crypto expert and like a beginner who might like, you know what I mean? Like, there's going to be levels of crypto expert, but not everybody needs to be an expert. Like, you two could be arguably considered experts with how much time you spent, developing in crypto. And so, I guess what you're trying to say is that you're trying to make it easy for someone who's not an expert, somebody who's just a layman, to just hop on in and be able to operate in this space.
Yeah, absolutely. I think right now you've got a wide array of people that are really looking at crypto right now. You've got people that have been in since, the Ethereum ICO or even the Bitcoin ICO. And then you've got people, or not the Bitcoin ICO, but the Bitcoin launch. And then you've got people that are hopping in the last year or so that are just new to crypto, but they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to learn how to buy a token or the difference between a hardware wallet and a software wallet. Very basic things. And then there's different levels. Then you get up to the point where there are people that are doing DeFi and they're doing yield farming and LP farming and token swapping. And we want to help the people that are relatively new. They understand how to use crypto. They understand how to open up a wallet and then have custody of their own keys. We want to help those people use more of the services that are on the blockchain in a crypto native way.
Yeah, and what I'll add to Joe's point there is, I think us folks that are in the crypto space, we kind of like assume there's already this momentum that we're all riding. And I often find, and this is not quantitative whatsoever, but I remember I was recently at the barbershop and I started to talk about crypto with the gentleman that was cutting my hair, and he had actually never heard of crypto. I was like, crypto, like Bitcoin. He was like, never heard of that. And I think there's a very strong, viable, latent amount of potential and energy, creative and economic, out there that still can come over to the crypto side. And we want to facilitate a lot of those, let's say, creators through our platform. So yeah, it never ceases to amaze me, like how early we still are.
Yeah, I mean, it surprises me too, especially just because it's just so. It feels like it's so niche, but it's not at the same time. Like I was saying, Tom Brady's on these commercials all day, every day. Matt Damon, if I see his face one more time during a football game, I might just scream, And it's like, what's this crypto.com thing? And now I have people to ask me about what's MCO token, and it's like it's weird. It's like we're sitting perfectly in this space where it seems like it's everywhere, and it's not. It's not, right? But I like that you defined it, Joe, like that specific person that you're targeting. I got a question for you. I had somebody hit me up just recently and said, "Hey, if I had a like a guitar, a rare guitar, how do I turn that into an NFT?" And I was like, "What? I mean, what?" Like I almost didn't understand the question.
Yeah.
Right. And would Atomizer help with something like Atomize help with something like that? Or what does Atomize actually specifically make easy for like a newbie?
Yeah, so I would say, at a high level, what we're really trying to do is help somebody who probably knows how to use a computer at a fairly basic level, right? They know how to like click and drag and drop and use the internet, use the web, browse around, use something like Google Docs. We want to make it effectively that simple. so that, I don't know what they wanted to do with the guitar. If they want to take a picture of the guitar or they want to record a riff on the guitar and upload that, but we want to make it super simple for that person to be able to take their riff or take their guitar clip and then just upload it. And right now, the main location that people are uploading stuff to is IPFS, but it could be IPFS, maybe in the future we could use Arweave, but have them be able to really quickly interact with the blockchain and do it in a way where they don't have to understand Solidity or any smart contract language. They just use it like they would use a regular user interface. But I think the key important thing is that we want to make sure that it's in the crypto native way, right? So we want that person, your friend, if they want to upload their guitar picture, they are the ones that have custody of the picture. So it goes with them as they move around.
So can I
Nice.
ask this question? What differentiates Atomize from a platform like OpenSea, where people, have the ability to, I guess, in a simplistic way, upload an image and turn it into an NFT?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. With OpenSea, actually, I wouldn't say OpenSea, but every platform on crypto is effectively a view into the blockchain, right? So OpenSea at its core level is a marketplace. Their goal is to help you trade your NFTs. They also provide a viewer and a creator that you can create the NFT and then sell it on there. But really their main business is to help you make an NFT and then sell it to somebody else, and then they take a cut. For us, we're looking at it in a little bit of a different way. One of the things that we noticed as we kind of look at crypto space and crypto native ideas and projects, and this really started off with Bitcoin, is that when a project is created like Bitcoin, it started off at zero value. And what they did was they just made 50 Bitcoin every 10 minutes, right, for 4 years. And then they cut that in half and made they made 25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes for another 4 years. And that dynamic of creating inflation and then incentivizing the community through paying out this inflation is a mechanic that we're going to employ, that we want to employ as we're building out our product. So OpenSea is great. It's a great marketplace. They make their money by taxing you. Our vision is that we want to basically make money by paying you inflation. So if you use our platform instead of OpenSea, we're not going to ever charge any of our users, but we want to basically pay you in inflation to become a part of our community.
So there's going to be some sort of Atomize governance token that everybody who mints some sort of NFT through Atomize gets when they create something through you guys?
Yeah, we want to do something like that. We don't really have the dynamics fully worked out yet because we're still kind of thinking about that. But that's the vision that we're striving towards as we build out our platform.
Gotcha.
I need to pay me with inflation. How does that work? How do I get paid? I'm not paid with inflation now. I work for USD, so maybe I am. But like, how do I get paid by inflation? I need to understand that.
I mean, if you look at a lot of the layer one chains right now, you can see that dynamic. If you're an Ethereum miner, you buy a mining rig, or a graphics card, and you spin it up. And every 14 seconds, the Ethereum blockchain mints out new Ethereum that gets paid to the miners, right? So the value of the Ethereum ecosystem, the total supply is going up as miners keep minting more blocks, right? And the miners are the ones that get paid to mint these blocks, which is, the whole process of securing the network. The same thing happens in Bitcoin. The same thing happens in a lot of layer ones. That's how they sustain that economy. So what you can do is separate that mining process, which is all the consensus stuff, from the process of just getting paid for holding, right? So there's certain tokens where if you put your money into a contract, you just hold your money in a contract for a certain amount of time, and it just gives you some more inflation or more reward. And you see this in a lot of the liquidity providing tokens and stuff like that, where if you hold your token, you get paid for holding the token. So we want to do some sort of mechanic like that, where you're incentivized to use our platform because we're going to give you a little bit of a reward on top for holding your coins with us, and then we're holding the coins that you're using with us, and then also using our platform to generate, to basically interact with your community.
Yeah, and I think what Joe's touching on there is essentially proof of stake versus proof of work. So essentially we have, like Joe mentioned, a couple of these or most of these layer ones, and they spin up ways of keeping the balance sheet honest, which generally requires energy. And the miners that are incentivized to keep that balance sheet honest are the ones that are getting paid the inflation. Conversely, in proof of stake, you lock the asset, and that inflation actually gets paid out to the folks locking the asset, rather than it being a negative externality where you have to dump said coin to pay for your energy bills, for example. Everything stays in the ecosystem, and rather than having it be a energy drain, it's much more leveraged by code and kept within the system.
So let me ask you this: what's the difference between what you guys are doing and like a DAO that incentivizes NFT creation and also NFT purchasing as a speculative investment?
A DAO that incentivizes NFT creation and purchasing so would this be something like, again, like OpenSea?
No. So one of the DAOs is like nouns.wtf. So that's a DAO that essentially mints NFTs, and using the proceeds kind of uses the proceeds as investment into other projects, and they can be NFTs or other types of projects. There are also NFT DAOs where it's more in line with purely NFT creation and NFT purchases. Like, let's say they wanted a spot in Decentraland, then they could vote on it as a community and then invest that money into buying a plot and develop it.
Okay,
together.
I see. Yeah. So our idea is to kind of make it easy for somebody to create something like that. So we would not necessarily be competing with that. We want to provide tools. So if you wanted to create any one of those types of DAOs, you could build that. And effectively, if you look at a DAO, it's really a couple of things, right? In the case you were describing, you've got like your NFT DAO. So maybe there's a treasury, right? So you need some way to kind of manage the money. You need a way to create NFTs. You may need a way to vote on things. And so those are all primitives, like cryptographic primitives on the smart contract chain. So we actually want to make it easy for you to create one of those if that's what you want to build. So I wouldn't necessarily say we're competing with that. Maybe at an individual level, somebody might go on our platform and want to build something that competes with that. But we want to make it easy for somebody to recreate that exact same thing.
What I'm seeing in the ecosystem is people are trying to do everything, and they're trying to be that level above everybody else because they want to be that level that captures all of the value beneath them. The thing is, like, these DAOs are also creating those sorts of user-based NFT creation, essentially SPAs, single page, websites, and they're doing just that. So it seems like everybody's trying to do everything. Like, you have a DAO that is both an NFT marketplace, maybe it has a DEX associated with it. And then basically they're trying to aggregate all this value and keep it inside of the economy. But the problem is you have all sorts of problems, like essentially you have dead equity, right? Dead sweat. You have dead early investor equity in the form of people, the 5% get in the project early, let's say. And then from then on, everybody kind of adds on, but then you're going to have the majority of people actually not doing anything, right? And just kind of adding on to that pool of money. How do you incentivize people to re-engage after, let's say, the first airdrop of this governance award for your project?
I think there's definitely a trade-off that you're making when you have one of these early projects. You have to build the mechanism design in such a way that you don't give away so much of the project that it's not financially viable, or it's not viable at all for somebody to come on later, because everybody, like, all the value is already accrued to a very small concentrated group of people. And we're still working on the economics to balance that, because it's a very delicate process. So yeah, we've seen projects where, a small group of people get a high concentrated amount of, whatever the token is. And then there's no more benefit for me as the 101st or 102nd person to come onto this project. And the project is basically ossified in its space, right? There's nowhere for it to go. And so I think there's a very delicate balance, and we're still actually looking at how we want to build those mechanics. Right now, the way our project is set up is it's just open to anybody, and we want to make it so that anybody can come to the website and build, these basic tools, right? A token, a fungible token, a non-fungible token, a voting contract, maybe a Gnosis multisig, which access your treasury management, and have these and put these things together in kind of like Lego blocks. So I think what you're asking about is a super important question, but we don't really have the answers to that right at this moment.
Gotcha.
Can I show? Do you mind if later in the interview I show off a little Atomize, like we put it up on the screen, and you?
Yeah, we can go to the main landing page.
Okay, we can do that. So I have some philosophical questions here. Like crypto evolves so rapidly. It evolves faster than COVID does, I think. And so, I'm kidding. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have taken it there. We need to take this shit serious, guys. But no, I'm kidding. Sorry. It evolves so rapidly, right? So how in this stage of its evolution did you guys define the problem that you're trying to solve? Like, did you guys sit down and just like, all right, let's put everything on the whiteboard, and then let's circle the problems that we see, and we're gonna attack that shit? Or how did you find the problem? Because obviously user friendliness, user experience is trash, right? There's no, I mean, you can see that from a mile away, but you're trying to do more. So how did you get to that process, and then just elucidate on the problem that you saw that you are solving?
Yeah, I think I definitely want Johad to kind of touch on this as well, but I think we built a couple of projects together before this, and as we were kind of exploring the crypto space, one of the things that we realized is that a lot of people that are very interested in crypto, like I've spoken with a lot of my friends that are really high level, they know how to go on Coinbase and buy a token, and they know how to go and like open up MetaMask and buy a coin or send money to their MetaMask wallet, but they don't really understand, that key fundamental piece of building something on chain and then having that, censorship resistant, zero counterparty risk thing that they built on chain. And that's really what an NFT is effectively once you get to the core of it, right? You have this thing that you effectively own that you can't counterfeit, and you basically have to give it to somebody, or they have to steal it from you somehow, tricking you for you to get rid of it. And so we want to make it. We started talking to our friends, and our friends were like, "Oh, I want to make an NFT of this, or I have this music, or I have these pictures, and I want to figure out how to upload them." And there are a bunch of good tools that allow you to do this, but there isn't really like that trusted website right now. There's not really like a Google that everybody goes to say like, this is the place where I go make an NFT. I mean, you've got stuff like OpenSea, but that's more of like I want to build this thing to sell it. It's not just I want to put this thing up because I want to own it and hold on to it. And so Johad, I think he has a good story of some of his friends, because Johad comes from a design background. And so he has a lot of friends. He went to a top design school in the United States. He has a lot of friends that are in design. And we just met up with a couple of them about a month ago, and they were telling us these stories about how they wanted to do that. And I think Johad can touch on that. So.
Yeah, definitely. When we started Atomize, we started with a couple of ideas, and Atomize is actually a third mini pivot. We gave ourselves the grace to take an idea and do a little bit of a change, and then a little bit of another change, and we eventually landed in the problem that we're trying to address. And like Joe mentioned, so many times, oftentimes, we would speak to creatives particularly, and they would have this brilliant idea of this thing they wanted to put on the blockchain because they hear through the grapevines that this is the new thing. This is the thing that you want to be doing with digital art or perhaps real art as well. And, they don't really have a one-stop shop way of monetizing that latent value. And like we mentioned, there are a couple of platforms out there that are just like all into NFT creation. But what Atomize does and aims to do is to leverage smart contracts at large. So currently our MVP features fungible tokens. So you can effectively create a coin on the platform as well as non-fungible tokens. And the next piece we're looking at are DAOs. So how to create your own communities and manage them yourself. And Yeah. So also, like Joe mentioned, I'm the design side of the equation. He's the engineering side of our co-founding team. And we were in LA, and we were with a couple of friends of mine, a couple of footwear designers. I went to school for traditional industrial design, and I ended up taking the automotive route, which eventually led me to tech and eventually to crypto. But they're like, oh my gosh, like there are all these tools and there are all these things, and I don't even know / don't want to know. It should not be this complex. It should be really simple for me to do this. And I have like all these tools, and I have to keep track of all these things. And it's just, it leaves a lot to be desired from a user standpoint. And for us, we feel we have the capacity and the skill set. Both of us are, technical in our professions, where we can bridge that gap between what is left to be desired with a good user experience.
I like it. User experience has played crypto for a decade now. So if you guys can make that simpler, like that is a huge opportunity. But let's dive into Atomize a little bit. I'm gonna see if I could toss this up on in the interview real quick, just on the landing page. And we can show the users here, show the people watching what we're looking at. So I think it's on the screen. Yeah, it is on the screen. Look at that. There we're good to go. So this is Atomize. This is y'all's landing page, yeah.
Yep.
And
Clean.
and where? So it is, isn't it though? Look at Johad. Johad, you can smile, man. Look at him. He's like, look.
Johad, did you do the image work stuff? Like,
Yep. Yeah. I do 3D as well as 2D design work, so product and industrial design. So I know all the 3D tools as well as Figma and all the other like UI tools.
Nice.
Kind of a hybrid there.
The modesty is just seeping out of the screen. No, okay. You guys are really modest, by the way. If you guys spent some time in our Slack, hashtag join the Slack, then you would know Joe is a beast. He's very, very modest. We have very modest men here. So we got Atomize. So I'm the user. I'm brand new to this, right? Just like our audience. What button do I push first? I'm assuming I push the bright white button.
That's where we want to go. But there's also a bunch of content on the website that kind of explains what we're trying to build, right? So we've got our, helps you build. We have a studio that we've just released. We're still doing a couple of tweaks to it to kind of fix it up, but it's functional. So you can go on there and mint an NFT or create a coin, and we want to make that super simple. And then we also have a token viewer that allows you to kind of see what's in your wallet, which there are lots of sites that do that, but we want to make sure that as we're helping you build the tools that you need to build, we want to make it simple for you to see, okay, I've just created this token, or I've just created these NFTs. Now maybe I want to airdrop them to a community, right? So if I make, a 10 pack of NFTs for, say my 10 friends, how do I really easily distribute this to those 10 friends? So that's kind of what that dashboard is designed to show.
That's pretty dope. And you could do it with any chain. Like you could just like with any chain, like say that is a scenario. Like for example, I have this group of friends, and this is getting into my personal life. So don't you guys record this shit. There's no security question answers in this story, audience. I've had a group of friends I've played video games with for like, I think 2 decades now. Yeah, 2 decades. Jesus, I'm old. I played video games with these people for 2 decades, right? And now we've come up with this plan to go to one NFL playoff game a year, right? Like we just want to all travel, the 4 of us, and go to an NFL playoff game, because why not, right? It's fucking dope. But I could like I'm the friend, I'm the crypto guy, obviously. So I'm the guy that could like create an experience. Like, hey, these are our NFTs this year. This is our 404 this year. This is our 404 next year, right? Every single time we go see a playoff game, we've got a different set. And I could use Atomize to do this, and I could do that with multiple chains.
Yeah. So the reason why we're looking at multiple chains is because we've seen, people, the community is kind of fragmenting off of Ethereum as the gas prices are kind of getting really high. And so we're looking at other chains that also support the EVM just because right now we're a very small team. We don't really have the capacity to build on actual separate chains. So we started off with Ethereum, and then we can use the exact same contract that we deploy on Ethereum on all of the other EVM-based chains. But the idea would be exactly that, right? If you want to build, a contract, or you want to build an NFT it's maybe a photo of you and your friends at the game that day, you could basically make 10 of them or 5 of them, or however many are in your group, and then you can airdrop them to the group of friends that you've got.
That's pretty cool. Okay. All right.
But yeah, if we scroll back up to the top, if you click on I'm not sure if the launch dApp button is actually linked up to the website yet, but I think we're going to have that up and running by Friday. Does it not go anywhere? Oh yeah, perfect. All right, so this is actually our dApp here. So the idea would be that you can pick from the chain that you want to select from. You can connect your wallet, and then once you're connected, it will show all of the information in your wallet. So you can go through here, select your wallet, select the chain. So you'd click on.
I actually don't have a wallet on this web browser. This is just
okay.
recorded.
Yeah, no problem. So you would connect to your wallet, and then you can click on coins on the left-hand side there. And then this would be the simple process of creating a token, right? So you would click, type in whatever the token name is. You type in your symbol. You set the decimal places, which we're thinking about removing this to just make it simple. And then you would just set the supply. So how many of these, tokens do you want to create? And then you click mint, and you pay the gas fees to mint it. And, with over the course of maybe, okay, got a lot of least significant digits, and then over the course of maybe 10 seconds, you could basically mint one of these with a very high fraction.
Nice. So 1 to the 53rd decimal place. I don't really know what that number is, but I like it. It's easy. I like it.
I mean, it's still 1, right? Because you just have 53 points of resolution on that number.
Okay. So then I need to make this 2. No, I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. This is a pretty sleek setup. This is okay. I like
NFTs are equally as easy. If you scroll down to NFTs, same deal. You can add a name, a brief description, drag and drop it, and hit mint, and then it's you confirm on your wallet, and it's good to go. And literally in under 15 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good file size you could put in there too.
Yeah, it's gonna get minted and added to IPFS, so get pinned on IPFS. So there's a limit to what you could put on IPFS, but this could be an audio track, this could be a 3D animation, this could be an image, this could be a GIF, it could be a bunch of stuff. So
dude, I am so excited because I literally have a user for you. He just hit me up last week. He said, "Hey, I got this crazy expensive rare guitar. I want to make sure that people know I own it. How do I turn that into an NFT really easy?" And I was like, take pictures and go to the Avalanche wallet. I don't know, bro. Figure it out Google.
Yeah.
But this is really easy. I can send him here.
Yeah.
And he could put proof of ownership. He could put proof of ownership of that on whatever chain that he wanted. Really.
Yeah.
So.
And that type of interaction is the interaction that we usually get from a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, how do I, fill in the blank of XYZ thing, put this on chain, or how do I interact with this DAO, or how do I create a DAO?" That's a question that we've actually heard a lot of. Or how do I do an airdrop, or how do I do whatever? We hear a lot of those questions. And so, the idea is that your friend would be able to go on here, click a couple of buttons, have their NFT minted, and then they would be on their way.
Yeah, and we could step back and almost imagine if you wanted to do your yearly kind of event with your friends, you could go to the NFT tab, create your own NFTs, maybe a set of 10, and then the next thing we're aiming to do would be the DAO, and you could actually manage that NFT interaction within your own small community of the folks that you're inviting to that particular DAO. and everything can be comprised in a one-stop shop in the Atomize experience. So that could be like your yearly, re-engagement of you and your friends, football games, and you could assign / like airdrop NFTs for a particular season.
That's pretty dope. So I'm looking over here on this sidebar. I see plenty of room for new icons to play with. What's what future growth? I see some scalability room in this sidebar for you here, Johad.
Yep, for sure.
What's on the docket, man? Give us some
Don't
juice.
drop any alpha. Don't drop any alpha. No, I'm just
Okay,
kidding. I'm
all
just
right.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
the
John.
community piece is definitely the next one. The community
just-
piece is definitely one we have to look into, do well, and once we figure out how to do it well, present it to the public. So I would say that would be the third tranche we're looking into.
What was it? I think it kind of broke up a little bit when you're saying it.
I mentioned DAOs and community
DAOs,
management.
okay.
So when we figure out how to do that properly and in a very user-friendly way, very simple to do, that will be the next tranche we're going to focus on.
This is nice. This is sleek. Like, this is something that I've been like, I don't know. Well, I know why, right? When you get a new tech, and usually the first people in the new tech, the first person using the microwave wasn't somebody who wanted to make it look nice. Definitely wasn't, somebody at Sunbeam or whoever makes microwaves. It was probably, Dr. Richard Jovowski. And he was like, look at that big ass box over there. That's going to cook my chicken filet tonight. And so it's like we've been in this world of really bad user experience and user interface for so long. I'm glad that, the space is evolving this way to like, this is simple, man. I would feel totally comfortable sending somebody here and it's like, hey, go to Atomize.xyz and I'm pretty sure you can figure it out from there. Like, and then I'm hands off. Like, I no longer have to be crypto tech support for all of my friends. It's just like, just go there, do it.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah. And one of the cool things is if you just want to play around with this, you can actually just test it on Rinkeby. It's not a drop down in there, but you can go on a test network and get some test net coins. And that way, if you don't want to actually burn any of your real Ethereum, it's not listed there. You would have to connect to Rinkeby manually. But if you select Rinkeby from your wallet, it will let you interact with this thing, interact with the website and do everything on a test net.
Yeah, and as we launch our MVP, we'll also have a couple of articles on how-tos for Rinkeby and for minting a token and an NFT, a fungible token and a non-fungible token. So a little bit more content there to help guide the community. But you can definitely also effectively, like, if you wanted to mint something on Ethereum without spending actual like mainnet ETH, you could do it on Rinkeby.
Mm-hmm.
So I have so many questions about this project.
Let them ride. That's why they're here.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask this question, which is in terms of who manages the escrow account or like where the NFTs are minted from. Do you guys just pass on that, I guess, management to the user who mints it?
Yep. Yeah. So we don't own anything. So if you minted the NFT, it's in your wallet, you own it. If you mint the token, it's in your wallet, you own it. If you create the multi-sig for the DAO, for the treasury, you're the signer plus all the other signers. We don't actually own anything. So the idea is we want to stay true to crypto, which is you own your stuff.
Interesting.
I want to buy shares of this. No, I'm kidding. But somebody else who's listening won't be. So be prepared to answer. Be prepared to answer those questions. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I really love the dark mode though as a default. I was so happy to see that. I was like, thank God.
I think it defaults to whatever your browser and your computer is set to. So if you're in light mode, it should default to light mode. But yeah,
y'all know I get down with that dark mode. Then that's how I roll.
For sure. Same here.
I don't know whoever uses light mode. I don't think I can. I can't trust you. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What's wrong with your eyes? Okay. Anyways, Jesse, more questions.
I think my questions have to do with like how this thing works on the underneath more than like on the top.
Squeeze it. Let's get the juice.
How hard am I supposed to squeeze though?
Dude, it's our
there's
show. We
still
can
a
do
lot
what we want.
unknown.
They're ready for it. Look, they know what's up.
I
Joe
think the
knows our
questions that I
show.
really have questions about are the stuff that they're thinking about right now, and the stuff that they probably don't want to talk about on the show,
How do you know unless you ask? They can always say, "Hey, we plead the fifth."
Hey, we plead the fifth. Yeah, I don't know. So like on Rinkeby, like how much does it cost to mint? I guess where are the stress points in terms of like a user? Because if I'm a normal person who comes to this website and I want to mint an NFT, I assume you guys are going to have some sort of route where they can pay with a credit card and they can buy ETH on the fly and mint their NFT on the fly, so that essentially they don't have to go to Coinbase, buy Ethereum, and then basically load it into a MetaMask wallet, because that's probably already expecting too much from a layperson, right? You want this to be fast and simple, so you're going the credit card route, probably. I would think.
Yeah, we actually, for our MVP, we've been thinking about how to onboard people. Right now, we are still targeting people that already understand a little bit about Web3, a little bit about crypto, a little bit about Ethereum. But I do think that's a great suggestion, right? Is making that onboarding process extremely seamless, so that you can take somebody from, no wallet, no account, to like onboarding them quickly and getting them launched on the platform. I mean, there are a lot of sites that actually make it super easy for people to onboard onto crypto without having to have a wallet. But we haven't really gotten that far yet. We've only been working on this for about a month and a half or so. So we still have a lot of work to do, but I think that's a great suggestion.
So in terms of like fees, what are the most costly projects to mint? Like, what are the factors that drive up the Ethereum gas costs?
So there's actually a document that kind of specifies what each command costs. NFTs are actually pretty expensive to mint because there's a fee, I think it's like 0.15 ETH is about the gas that it costs. And so whatever the cost of that native token is what it's going to cost you 0.15 of whatever that is. So if it's ETH, it's going to cost you, a couple $100. If it's, something that's a lot cheaper, like XDAI, it's going to cost you pennies, right? So depending on whatever chain you're on, that really kind of determines how much it's going to cost you to mint the NFT and kind of set that value. And then, if you want to store something on IPFS, that's also relatively expensive because you're effectively pre-purchasing storage to hold this item. So that's also pretty costly. But at the end of the day, you're still have full custody and full ownership of whatever you're putting on there. So.
Yeah, and I think it's also really user dependent which chain they might want to use, which is why we're giving folks the ability to have multi-chain operability, right? If there's always trade-offs. If you want the largest user base, and let's say your use case is, hey, I want to mint an NFT because I'm an artist and I want to go to a marketplace, list it and sell it and potentially make some income. And I need the broadest user base. Well, Ethereum might be the one you want to go to because most of the users are in Ethereum. However, if you're saying, okay, I'm not willing to mint an NFT for X amount of fiat money prior to actually paying the gas. If I have to do it from the start, why don't I try Avalanche? A little bit less users, lower fees. This could be more my speed. Or perhaps you're an Ethereum maximalist and you want to absolutely target that audience. You can also use that as well. So there are trade-offs which chain you want to use for a particular use case. Perhaps the football yearly getting together with your friends use case might not need the most expensive chain, but that's why we're kind of focusing on this and really betting on this multi-chain world and offering an alternative for each person's use case.
Have you guys I guess in the details of when something gets minted and stored on IPFS, have you guys is it in the terms of service that says some if your data doesn't get accessed, every so often, essentially it gets pruned from the network? How do you guys deal with that sort of issue, or are you not going to kick that can?
We know that that's obviously a challenge. The stuff is not permanent and you have to kind of refresh it and, keep accessing the data. We haven't really come across that yet. We're still in beta, like almost like a private beta. So you can use this thing and build stuff, but we're still working on that. But yeah, that's something that we're going to have to figure out how to address. Is, once you pin your thing in IPFS, how do you make sure that it doesn't go away and make sure that the user has some sort of way to remember, like, hey, you need to access this thing or it's gonna get pruned.
What type of infrastructure are you guys looking at, like beyond the dApp stuff, to support, I guess potentially this storage of an of the media associated with the token? Are you guys looking at that at all, or basically just another problem to be solved in the future?
Yeah, right now from an infrastructure standpoint, we're using a platform that kind of handles a lot of that stuff for us. So there's a popular platform called Pinata, and they kind of handle a lot of the NFT management for us. Our goal, though, is to eventually be able to kind of vertically integrate all of those solutions, right? Because a lot of these platforms, they work with like a specific chain or whatever, and we want to have the flexibility to support a bunch more stuff than we support right now. So right now, we're just using a third-party service just to kind of bootstrap this and show people what our idea is. But eventually, we want to run our own nodes on all of these chains. We want to have our own infrastructure and hire DevOps people, backend system engineers, and that whole stack to be able to run this ourselves. So we are offloading a lot of that responsibility just to basically bootstrap and build our MVP. But eventually, we'll have more concrete answers when we have to design this stuff ourselves.
Sounds good. And then the DAOs, do you guys have like, I don't know if this is like too alpha-y, but do you guys have like any plans on how you will set up the smart contracts associated with DAO creation so that they're more than just a multi-sig treasury?
We're still looking at that. I've been talking to a bunch of people in the crypto space and developers. From developers that are at like all these software engineering firms, and we're still looking at how to do that. Most of what we've seen from a treasury management perspective is effectively a multi-sig, so that kind of covers like 95% of the cases. But we realize that there may be something else, and we kind of have to comb through a couple of contracts to see what's available. But there may be something else that you want that's more granular or more nuanced or a better way to manage everything. So we still need to look into that. But we're obviously open to suggestions. If you want to hit us up and you're like, hey, I think this contract would work better, or this is a different approach, we're obviously open to suggestions. Because we're just compiling the contracts, and then our real secret sauce is that we're designing this user interface that makes it super easy for you to use that contract, and then we're going to handle the compilation, the deployment, and all that stuff for you. So
yeah, Johad's the secret weapon in terms of the user experience.
That's right.
I can see that. Yeah,
for that first bit, and then the smart contract, which is going to be later. But yeah, at least onboarding you folks.
Gotcha.
Nice. Well, we're gonna ask you guys our trademark questions here, and then it's really hard to ask like the original trademark question though, Jesse, because crypto has just blossomed.
It's fragmenting and expanding. Yeah,
it is, which is interesting because if you go back to what Satoshi was talking about, this level of fragmentation was a red flag for him, but it's seeming as if this level of fragmentation is not a red flag at all when you look at how robust things are becoming. So I don't know. We're in new waters. We're charting new waters. But Jesse, I'll let you ask your question first.
So I already kind of know the answer, but I'm going to ask you guys anyway. Feel free to take this however you want. Is what you guys do actually hard? And then Joe and then Johad, you guys can answer individually.
Go ahead, Johad.
Oh, yes. For sure. It's really interesting. Crypto is a rabbit hole, and I've never seen anybody crawl out of it. It's just this kind of rabbit hole that you go into, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And also, once you go so deep into one particular tranche of whatever you're into in the crypto space, you kind of miss out on this whole other universe. Like we're talking a multiverse essentially of different chains. If you're really deep down in Ethereum, you might not know what's going on in Avalanche, and vice versa, for example. So accumulating the needs of all of these of this latent user base from a creative standpoint, from an economic standpoint, and making an experience that is both tangible as well as not intimidating and also trustworthy, because we're, cryptocurrency is dealing with folks' fiat, at least from the start, right? So this is a serious thing. And we're minting NFTs, which have this really fun kind of playful edge to them, but at the end of the day, this is a very serious industry. So gathering all those requirements and making them super easy to engage with, so that you can bring on more of a user base, that's tricky. And we haven't solved it. That's why we're in it. It's an exciting field, and there's lots to be solved. So
awesome, Joe.
I think it's super easy. It's just a cakewalk.
From all the people.
No, I'm just kidding.
To, Joe,
no, it's
you have literally the one of the best abilities out of all the people that I've talked to keep your head above enough to survey the entire landscape. And so, to what Johad was saying, how difficult it is to not essentially pigeonhole yourself in any one blockchain, like, props to you before you even give your answer on your ability to just kind of like poke your head up and see what's around you. So
yeah, I would say, it's really difficult because there's a lot of stuff that's going on. You have to really be multidisciplinary. You have to learn a lot of stuff. I didn't really have any economics background before I came into crypto, outside of like buy low, sell high, which is like the exact opposite of everything I've done in my whole life. I was buy high, sell low. And so you have to get this economics background. You need a philosophy background. You need an engineering background. You need a cryptography background. You basically need to combine almost every discipline, that exists into this one field. And it's a lot of work to kind of wrap all that stuff up and have a really cogent thesis saying, this is what crypto is about. And so it's a lot. It's difficult to manage all that stuff. But I will also say that as somebody who sees themselves as a lifelong learner, this is like the perfect place for me, right? Because there's an infinite amount of stuff that I can learn about,
100%.
All of these different areas that all really merge into define what crypto is.
Awesome. Great answer.
These are very good answers. I think the fact that you do have to be that multidisciplinary states to just how early things are still, right? Like I know people I know people who are doctors that are worth the same amount of people who didn't pass middle school, right? When it comes to the system of the US, and it's like, okay, well, that's got to be a really good system then. If somebody who is a friggin' medical doctor is worth millions, and then this other dude I know who can barely write is also worth millions, right? That means they're both using the same system to benefit greatly from. And that's a very large and topic I just kind of opened the Pandora's box to. So I'm gonna close that shit right back up and just ask this trademark question. And that is, in 10 words or less, can you describe blockchain?
Yeah, I'll go first. So, censorship resistant, zero counterparty risk value.
Censorship resistant, zero.
It sounds like you've been preparing for that one.
6. That's less than 10. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
What you got, Johad?
Such a good job. Let's see. Huh.
Number go up.
Yeah. When Lambo.
He said, when Joe goes high, I go low.
When Lambo.
When Lambo. That's good, man. Saying stuff like that is giving a lot of people hope nowadays. Some people thought that they were going to make it out of that Mickey D's job on their sheep token bet. And let me tell you something. They are awkwardly calling their old supervisor right now.
Yeah.
How's sheep doing? Is it doing good? Is it doing bad? Anybody know?
Probably not too good.
Probably not doing
Probably
great.
not
Probably
too good.
I had for the very first time since I've started in crypto, I had one of the first heartfelt, like, I think I put too much money in this. I'm really starting to be emotionally affected by what's going on in the market. Please tell me something. Like, basically, like, lifeline. He was looking for a lifeline text
Mhm.
of, like, but there was nothing I could say. I was like, "You're in the suck now." And that's what I texted him back. So I hope he didn't do anything too irrational. Like, I'm hoping I hear from him sooner rather than later. But yeah, so that's just a word of advice to you guys listening / watching. Yeah, don't invest more than you can stand to lose. Okay, that's just a general tip in life, because
For sure.
I can't handle too many. Hey, I think I'm looking at this bridge's height text. Like, you're thinking about jumping off of that
Jesus.
shit. Please don't. I can't handle that shit anymore. All right, just listen to our show and Huddle Plus. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. Anyways, Johad, thank you for coming on the show. I really
Yeah.
like that. I like that, although slow, we're at a point in this space where I can actually present something that's finished. Like, you guys have finished things working, and that's great. Because back in 2017, it was like, yeah, man, we're totally gonna tokenize, Yokohama tires, and it's gonna be the best thing ever. And we were like, what? What are you trying to do? That's
Mm.
not. So it's
Yeah.
great. You guys have a product. You got something moving. You know what? I'll ask that question next time after you guys have all those investor meetings that you're about to have. No, I'm kidding. I know you are. I'm kidding, but I'm not. You guys do something awesome there. So, anyways, do you guys have anything left that you'd like to say to the audience?
I just want to say thanks for having us on, and definitely look forward to coming back once we make a couple more progress steps. And I think you guys had some great ideas. So thanks for having us on.
Yeah, we thoroughly enjoyed our chat, and yeah, hope to speak again soon. Thank you.
Nice.
Awesome.
Johad, if you're not in the Slack, join up. Everyone that is Atomize.xyz, go check it out. Mint some things, have some fun, and then pop in the Slack. Tell us how it went. Be pretty dope.
Cool.
Awesome.